Hey guys, I'm going to show you today how I'm generating $200,000 or more per month for this electrician. And I have multiple clients that we're doing different methods for that are working really well. So I will share with you those as well. This video is more going to be an overview of how the marketing works. I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet and just give you an idea of what's working right now. I will give you an idea though of how marketing, at least that I found, works across the entire US. And I mean, if you're outside of the US, it'll probably work similarly too. But every location, every state, wherever you live, it might be different in terms of what works and what doesn't. However, the fundamental processes are the same. So for these guys, particularly, Google Ads works really well. Local service ads works okay. Facebook doesn't work at all. And group like organic Facebook ads doesn't work at all. Websites work pretty well when they're done correctly. But for other companies, I can just run Google local service ads and that'll run their whole business. Or Facebook groups might work better. They might actually do well on Angie's, which almost no one does, but in some places that's the case. So with that in mind, you kind of have to make your best guess based on what other people in your area are using. Some people, like Yelp in some cases is good in some locations, which is in these guys' locations, it's absolutely horrible. It's just a waste of money. But just keep that in mind that the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you today, it's all about the process, about how you do things. And if you do things right, then you're basically setting yourself up for a system that works. What I've found when I've done this stuff is that you can tell pretty quickly within the first month whether or not something is working. However, you have to make sure you're doing things to a very high level to actually figure out if it's working or not. If you test the waters with something and you've done a poor job of it, you won't see good results, even though good results are possible. So you've got to also give time to learn if you don't know how to do things already. Otherwise, you won't be giving it its best shot. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, cool. So let's just jump into all the things that we're doing for this company. I think the first one that we're going to look at is local service ads. So if you haven't seen local service ads before, let's have a look right now. You can type in Google local service ads into Google, and then this is what you'll see. And then if you sign in or get started, in your case, you'll be driven to the sign up process, which is pretty straightforward. And I'll show you what an account looks like through that. So I'm just going to share with you these guys' reporting dashboard. So you can see here they get about 25 leads, or they got to about 25 leads over the last month at an average cost of, if we do some quick math, let's just do 830 divided by 25, $33 per call. So the really good thing about Google local service ads is that you're paying per call or per message rather than per click or per view, which most other platforms do. And also, if someone is irrelevant to your business or is looking for a job, anything like that, then Google will oftentimes refund you using their automatic system. I would highly recommend this being one of the first things that you set up for your business if you haven't set it up already. And even if you have, I would look into doing it properly. I've got a complete guide on how to do it properly, which I'll put in the description below. But basically what it does is it firstly gives you a big SEO boost because Google basically gets to confirm that your business has all the necessary insurance. You've got a Google business profile that's doing well. You do a background check, all of these different things. You have the proper licenses to operate in your area. So doing all of those things basically guarantees Google that you're a good company. And so you get a good SEO boost for having those. But also you get the opportunity to basically run your whole company off a very cheap source of advertising. And because you're only paying if you get a call, it's basically a no-brainer in terms of costs because the costs are so low. You only pay when you get a call. What more could you want, basically? So the only downside with local services ads is that it takes a little while, or it can take a little while to scale up, even in the areas that it works really well. It might take a few months for you to hit your maximum potential. And I'll show you an idea of what that looks like. But also, you don't know what your potential is. So you kind of set this up hoping that it's going to work. In some areas it doesn't. Like in this one, it's only getting 25 leads in their location. These guys get 122 leads in the last month, right? So it can, some of them, these guys can almost run their whole business off of local service ads alone. And the lead quality is pretty good. I'd say it's like average lead quality. You can like these guys, I think they're making $2,500 on average per customer that they get from local service ads, and they usually make around $3,500 per customer on average. So it's still pretty good. That's not too bad. And I guess the other thing to mention is that, yeah, you really just have to give it a go to see if it works in your area. The factors that can cause it to not work is that there's another person in your area that's doing an incredibly good job, so it doesn't work, that customers or consumers in your area just don't like to use local service ads. So sometimes no one will click on the ads. So you really just have to try it and see if it is going to work. Okay, cool. So then this is Google Ads, different system. If you just type in Google Ads into Google, you'll find the sign up process here. Just click on this and then you'll be able to get started. You'll be able to sign up there. Google Ads is a really tough one to make work. And mainly it's tough because if you do like the normal setup, it just won't really work, unfortunately. So we've got a bunch of campaigns running for these guys, and this is the main one that we've got. You might be wondering what's up with these conversions and things like that. Just to let you know, there's a lot of people that make videos on the stuff that fake their data. This data, for some types of companies, it's like electricians and the way that we've set it up, it's kind of hard to track the conversions well. And actually in a lot of campaigns, you will have conversions that aren't completely accurate. A lot of companies will change this data and manipulate it so that when they show you it, it isn't real. So just watch out for that. However, in this case, they get a lot more conversions that is actually recorded. And the way that works is, say if someone sees their ad, we've found that a lot of the time they'll not only go to their website, but they'll also go to their Google My Business profile and do other things like to basically research the company before they buy. So oftentimes the first click that's attributed to the conversion isn't actually the one that's recorded. So they might be getting 3 times the amount of conversion that's actually shown on here. We generally find for these guys that they get around a $200 to $300 conversion. So that's they can get multiple calls, but a conversion on Google costs them around that much, which is still really good. When I mentioned before that they get on average a $3,500 ticket price from these sorts of leads. So they're making a lot more from these than they would be from local service ads. And so that cost is actually much better than local service ads when you take into account the customer being better. And so, yeah, just for tracking reasons, I wouldn't worry about that too much. In fact, most of the advice I see given on Google is completely wrong. Unfortunately, this company, they'd hired around 7 different companies before they found me. And when I started, I had never run Google Ads before. So I was really just figuring things out and testing things on an incredibly low budget. And it wasn't until I figured things out that we actually began to scale and I finally got their ads working. And it was the first one that could do it for their company. But what we found is that just a very, very simple advertising setup works for them, where most companies were doing, well, their setups were absolutely terrible, but most companies were trying a lot of fancy stuff that doesn't work for electricians. The most notable one, and you probably heard about it before if you've ever dived into Google ads at all, is that there's a setting that's called a bidding setting called max conversions. And when you turn that on, you're basically saying, hey, AI, where is it? Here. You can change the bidding strategy here to conversions. Basically what you're saying is, hey, AI, go out there and find me good customers and do it at the lowest possible price you can find them at. Now, the reason why this, I think, my hypothesis doesn't work, because I've tested it many times, talked so much back and forth with Google employees on this. And the reason I think it doesn't work is that what it tries to do is, because electricians, and if you're doing a broad campaign like we are, where we're going for every type of electrical job, and because electricians have such a wide range of potential work, like you can install a ceiling fan for $300 or $200 and rewire a whole house for $50,000 to $100,000, right? What it optimizes for is it tries to find the ceiling fan customers, because there's a lot more of them to find and they're easier to convert. So max conversions will really get you more jobs, but it will be terrible jobs that you can't actually make a profit from. Compared with other methods like the method that we're doing, which finds the full range of types of customers, so that at least that we get an average cost that's much higher than just the ceiling fan. So basically we can get the home rewires with this setup, as well as the ceiling fans, which we don't really get many of those anyway, but we can get the full range rather than just the cheap chops. Now, there is another way to do the setup, but it is a lot more complex, which is target specific jobs and only aim for those jobs and have specific landing pages on your website for those specific jobs. We actually do both. where we have max conversions for the specific jobs, as well as a general broad campaign that works really well. From what we've seen, the broad campaign actually works better than anything else at the moment. So, I'll keep you posted on that, but that's what we've found so far. It's taken us a long time to get this setup working right for targeting specific jobs, and that's only been running for a little while, so I can't really talk about that too much at the moment. However, just know you can run a company above $200,000 a month just using quite a broad Google Ads campaign. Now, some of the other things we're doing is we're making sure that the website is incredible. So that's been a big focus of us. We've got a big focus on conversions, so we're making sure that people, when they see the information on here, they're buying. There's a very easy call to action. They get to see our star ratings. They get to see all of our badges and licenses and things like that. So this first initial thing is the thing that they'll read. They'll be like, okay, that's a electrician. They're in my area, and I probably should call these guys, is the idea when they see this first page. From there, we've just got a very basic section where it shows all our services and then just talks a little bit more. Almost no one scrolls down to see this stuff, but for the people that do, there's a lot of good reasons to choose this company over someone else. And then from here, we've got all the different services that we offer, which each have their own individual pages. And then a lot of these are, especially the good pages, as in like the good services that we do, are highly optimized to convert people, and they're also highly optimized to show up in the organics on Google. And then apart from all of our service pages, we've also got pages for each location, which basically will rank us higher organically in those locations and tell Google that we're relevant for these types of customers in these locations as well. And all of these pages are optimized for converting people that live in those locations. And so there's been a lot of work on the website. It's not perfect yet because we're still basically building things out and improving things from the previous company. But all of the core pages have basically been improved so that they are high converting. And you can really see it in the numbers, like in the dashboard, like I mentioned before, like this company was going till June. I took over in July, and immediately with all the changes that I made, we're starting to see much better results. Keep in mind that I was running the ads for the majority of this period of time as well, and it was the same types of ads that we were running back here, but they weren't working because of the website. So the website does really, really matter a lot. When you're driving traffic to a bad website, the traffic will convert less. And also, if you just have a bad website in general, then less people will convert it organically. So they definitely add together. And a tool that we adopted after we left that previous company that has done really well for us is called Search Atlas. I'll leave a link below. This will be an affiliate link because I absolutely love Search Atlas, and so I've onboarded multiple companies to it. Search Atlas is like a new AI tool that's useful for managing your SEO at a much cheaper rate than these very expensive SEO companies. And I'll show you in here, there's a bit of updates I need to do this week, but basically you get an optimization score, and you can go through here and you can basically go through all the new pages that you have, click on Not Deployed, and it's an AI that sits on top of your website and improves all of your SEO stats, basically, so that Google thinks your website looks amazing. And we can pretty much just use AI. If we go here, I can click on bulk actions, and I can select all the things on the page, and then I can generate better title tags for my website, as an example. All right, so those will load in, those will get AI generated, and I can come back to those in a moment and then decide if I want to change them or deploy them. But basically, we have all of these very important categories for SEO on our website. And if you've done any SEO before or talked to anyone that does it, then you would have seen some of these categories before. And the reason why Search Atlas is so good is because there's tens of thousands of different businesses that use this website, and all the rankings are tracked. Whenever websites do these changes and do updates, Search Atlas is measuring what's important and what actually affects rankings. And so every time they find something new that affects rankings, or if they find something that doesn't or any affect rankings anymore, they can remove it or add it to the platform. And then basically it allows you to use AI to manage your website from this dashboard. So every change I make here will automatically be uploaded and changed on our website, and Google will see those changes. So it's a really fast way to manage your SEO from one location, and the reporting is absolutely amazing. So you can see here, it's generated some different titles for us to use. And so I can decide whether or not I like this title, or I can edit it right now, just completing the generation. But this is the title that it will be replacing. And then when I want to deploy it, I can just click this deploy button or deploy all in the category. It's usually best to check over things to make sure they're good because it will be going live directly on the website. But some of the other amazing things that this program does is it also allows you to do backlinks. So basically we can publish articles on all of these different websites. So it'll write us an article for us that'll basically be able to be published on all of these websites that are incredibly high ranked. Like you can see GitHub, probably like a 99 out of 100 domain authority score. So all of these websites it publishes on are very high domain authority. We can do press releases to local news sites via this platform, and it's very easy to set up. So I've got some of those going. We can set up this thing called Wildfire, where we're basically, and Google really loves this for local businesses, where we can get our website listed on other local businesses or businesses around the area that we're in. And we can sort by, the businesses with the higher domain power, and then get our business on those guys' website. And so it's a really good way to get your business backlinks for your business. Cool. So, and then the other thing that we can do that is really good is blog writing and content. Now, blog writing and content doesn't seem to have a huge impact for electricians in terms of having customers read it. However, Google reads it, right? So if they see that your website is highly relevant to your customers, then they're basically going to rank you higher. And because it doesn't have that high of an impact, at least I don't think it does, it means that paying someone to write blogs for you is incredibly costly, and it doesn't really provide you a huge return on your investment. However, if you use a tool like Content Genius, you can basically we write 20 blogs a month for these guys, and they're AI generated blogs, and I'll be able to show you what those kind of look like. All right, so if we have a look at one of the blogs, let's just go. Why don't we have a look at this one really quick? So basically what it will do is it can generate images for you. It'll SEO optimize the blog. You'll be able to basically write content that if someone looked this up as a consumer, they'd be very interested in what you're doing. And then we can tie all this back to the owner of the company as well. So basically, they're just incredibly in-depth blog posts that if someone were to read, they could actually read them. Like if we were just going to read this, generated installation cost breakdown, your essential guide for central Iowa homeowners and businesses. Bringing a whole house generator into your home or business is a smart move for guaranteed power, but understanding the costs involved can seem a bit daunting. Here in central Iowa, prices can shift based on the generator size, the labor involved, necessary permits, and any extra gear you might need. This guide breaks down the generator installation costs clearly, covering expenses of the price, what it costed, own one, financing options with Rewrite IRA, and why our zero blackout promise is your ultimate assurance, all to help you make an informed decision and keep you properly powered reliably. So it reads really well, and it's got all these questions, which basically, if someone asks these questions on Google, then it will want to refer back to this article. So they're highly SEO optimized articles, basically, which is great. And the way that we can write them is using the Search Atlas tool. Search Atlas does an incredibly good job of writing these types of articles. It'll basically, what it does is it'll research the topics that you give it and then cross-reference with all the other top ranking pages based on those topics. And then once it finds those top ranking pages, what it will do is, I'm just noticing that we're top ranking in this area now as well, which is great. Once it finds these top ranking pages, what it will do is it will write an article that's basically better or meant to beat those pages, which is awesome. Awesome. Okay, cool. So those are the main things that we're doing for this company. I could go into detail on even their Google My Business profile, but all I'll say is there's probably a billion videos on this already. Most of them are just, clickbait, but basically all you need to do on the Google My Business profile is make sure everything's 10 out of 10 Google My Business profile. Otherwise, Google will have reasons not to show your business. A really good way to do that is actually to also use Search Atlas, because Search Atlas will show you your Google ranking, and it will tell you if you've got any things that need to be done. It'll show you an overview of your Google My Business profile and basically tell you what you need to fill out in order to make a 10 out of 10 Google My Business profile. But basically, the short of it is you just need to make sure that everything's filled out. All right, but that's everything for now. If you guys have any questions, leave in the comment below. Visit my website if you want to work with me or you want to have a free consultation or anything like that. I'm really happy to help out with anyone that's running an electrical business. Apart from that, take care and I'll see you later.